Okay, guys. Again, good morning, everyone. Yesterday we have seen about assertions and we also did schema validations. Today we will do builder pattern. We will learn about builder patterns. But before that, um, I want to cover one more topic. Like suppose in your case, in your company, they want your manager wants your responses to be stored in some external files. Okay, all these terms. What we are doing is we are we are printing it on the console, right? Because most probably we are not interested in printing on the console because we want to store in some places. Maybe you want to attach it in Jira or something like that. In those cases, how we can do it? Okay, so it's also very pretty simple, guys. So so basically I have a response now. Okay, I introduce a new local variable, and now what I can do, previously we used files dot read, right? Read the content. To read the content, we used files dot read all bytes, and then we have read the file from this test.json and pass it as a request body. The same way, this files class is also having write method. Okay, this write method is taking a path reference and byte array, right? So we are going to use this particular method to cater our needs. Okay, so first it is asking for path. So this path is basically path start get. Okay, now we can give the location where you want to generate this. I want to generate this file on my current working directory. In the root folder, I want to create a file called response.json, and now it is asking me, you pass me the content. Okay, now the content is basically the byte array. You need to pass it as a byte array. So response dot as byte array. There is a method called as byte array, which will give you the response in the form of byte array. Okay, so then that's all. Once you do this, it will throw some exceptions. You can also handle it, but for now I'm just throwing it to the method signature. Okay, now so this is done. Let's try to run it and check what is happening. So what we are expecting is it needs to create a file called response.json and put all the response in there. Okay, now the test is completed. Okay, let's see what's the response that we get. Okay, go to response.json. If you notice, this is a response that we got, and it is now stored in the external file. Right. So this is how you can store the response in the external files. Okay, this file you can now attach to some Jira or something, and then close particular test case. Okay, so this is another quick utility that I want to cover, which I missed yesterday. So yeah, this is also done. Now this is done. We need to learn about builder patterns. How many how many of you have already heard about design patterns? You guys know what is design patterns?
Amutan, like while working with Selenium,
I couldn't hear you well.
yeah, is it better now?
Yeah, it's better, much better now.
Yeah, so while working with Selenium, like got to know about the page factory design pattern.
Yeah, page factory. Yes, page factory is a design pattern. Okay, yeah, what else?
Amutan, is page object model and page factor the same thing? Like,
Page factory is basically page object model is actually design pattern. Page factory is again a class from Selenium, but yeah, people use it relatively, but that's okay for now. Page object model, the way where we encapsulate all the page related stuff in a class, right? So suppose if there is a login page elements and login page methods, we encapsulate all of them in a particular class. That's basically a design pattern, because we structure, it helps to structure our pages well. So it's basically belongs to structural design pattern. There are different ways, different types of structural pattern, different types of design patterns based upon what they do. Suppose first we need to understand what is design pattern, but before that, anyone knows any other design patterns that you have used in your code and other stuff?
I have used singleton pattern.
Okay, what else?
Factory design pattern.
Okay, good. Anything else?
Also, we actually perform method chaining by using some pattern.
Okay, good. Okay, anyways, I'm glad that you already know about it, but for people who don't know about what is design pattern, okay, design patterns are basically a solution to already existing design problems. Okay, suppose we normally get a fever or cold, what we do, we take a paracetamol because we already know that if you face a similar kind of situation, similar kind of problems, take these solutions, right? That's we arrived at our experience, right? So um, the same way, if there is a problem in your software design, okay, these patterns are basically solutions for them. Okay, it's not that you have to always use it, but if you face a similar problem in your software design, there are experts, people who already faced this and solved it for us. Okay, you can leverage that knowledge into your software design and then you can solve that. That's basically what design pattern is. So never ever force a design pattern. Okay, never force fit a design pattern. Okay, that is the first rule. Okay, so design patterns are basically already available or existing solutions, template that for an commonly occurring software design problems. Okay, so that's what pattern is. Design patterns are basically different types, okay, based upon what they do. Okay, suppose the singleton pattern, the factory pattern, they are all creation types of design patterns. Okay, they are creational types. Okay, because they deals with creating objects. Okay, factory design patterns helps to help to create objects in a more effective way. The same like singleton. Okay, and then there are certain problems that are structural. Okay, which helps you to structure your framework really well. Okay, there are commonly occurring problems in terms of people structure, how they structure their stuff. Okay, previously in test automation, we write all our driver.find element, everything in the code, and then people told, okay, there is a we will create a new pattern that is called as a page object model, where it will help you to structure your pages really well, right? It helps you to structure your framework really well. So page object model is one of the structural design pattern which is only used by our test automation engineers, and it's not widely used by developers. But there are other patterns which are also used by developers. Okay, there is also one more creational, structural, and I forgot about the remaining one. Okay, so
Behavior.
yeah,
Behavior.
behavior, yeah, based upon how you want to behave. Suppose you have mm, strategy design pattern and other stuff that helps you. Suppose let's say you have a Google page. Okay, you have different languages. On this particular language you want to do this, on this particular language you want to do this, based upon your behavior, how you want to structure, design your framework. So that's your behavioral components. But in our case, okay, in our case, we are actually going to learn about one of the creational design pattern, that is builder. Okay, I'm not going to speak about other. Maybe if time permits, I will speak about the other, but or you can always refer my playlist. But for now we are going to deal about builder pattern. So this builder pattern comes in really handy in the case of if you want to create an employees class. Here we have used employee class. Okay, let's go here, create a new class, and let's say builder pattern, builder design pattern dust. Okay, something like this. And let me, okay, so let's name it as builder test for now. Okay, okay, so now, so what is the problem we had? We have created this employee class previously, right? The problem here is this employee class is taking so many arguments. Okay, if you notice, there are so many arguments, and if I use a constructor, you need to code like this. Okay, this is a code that we have written. Okay, let's copy this for now. This is the code we have arrived, right? So maybe you can for now you can just say arrays dot as list, whatever. Okay, some values, the same thing I'm putting in there. Okay, but if you notice, it gets really clumsy, right? So we cannot able to understand what it actually does, right? So maybe I'll go there. Oh, it's a favorite food, so let me put it as favorite food. Okay, that's it. Again, so let's forget about this. Okay, let's assume that you don't have the favorite food. My intention is not to showcase all these things. Okay, let's also remove this for time being. Okay, so that it's more easy and readable. So again, if you notice, there are 4 parameters. Okay, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now let's copy this and then let's go here. Paste it here. Okay, now to create an object, so we need to pass all these parameters. The reason why we are using constructor is because we want immutability. We don't want people to use it. Okay, but the problem is if the number of parameters gets increasing, okay, I really cannot find what parameter the I want to suppose, let's say I want to find email last name, but in IntelliJ you have an option that it is clearly telling it's a last name. In email, this is an email field, but in IDs like Eclipse, it don't even show you a registration. For example, this one, I don't know what it is. It is an ID, I don't know what it is. Okay, so if the number of parameters gets increased, maybe 15 or 20, it becomes difficult. So the first problem is if the number of parameters increases, the readability increases, readability decreases, sorry, decrease. And also, suppose I want to ignore something. Let's say I don't want to pass the first name now. Then what is the option? Then I also need to create one more constructor that only has this particular value, this and this. Okay, so let's say I want to ignore this first name. Okay, there is no, suppose if I ignore it like this, it won't work. Okay, it will tell, hey, your constructor is not matching. It is asking me to create a constructor, so I need to go ahead and create a constructor for within these fields. Okay, maybe I don't create it like this, alt and insert, and I want to create a constructor for for these 3 fields, and then click on OK. It will create for me. Now let's go to the employee class again, and now the errors are gone. Okay, so the same way, if there are 20 parameters, I want to ignore one. Suppose next time I want to ignore last name. Okay, but that time I also need to have first name. Okay, so these are all optional fields, right? I cannot code like this. How many times you will code it? Okay, so if you want to ignore some fields, it becomes very difficult. If you want to ignore some fields, because those are an optional fields. Let's assume you are taking you are a web developer, you are taking on a personal form. Okay, these some fields will be optional, right? If those people are not filling it, you also need to create a constructor for them, right? So if you want to ignore some fields, it becomes difficult. Okay, to create multiple constructors. Okay, you can also do it, but it's not a good approach. You cannot keep on creating constructors, because assume there are 20 fields. Okay, you cannot, there will be a lot of n number of combinations. Okay, if the permutation and combination will be more, you cannot create those many constructors, right? So that's always there, right? So that's the problem. So how we can solve these 2 problems without compromising on the immutability? So what I mean by immutability, it means, suppose if I create an object like this, the employee, I don't expose my setter methods. Okay, I don't have setter methods. So this is already having setter methods. Let's go and remove it. Okay, let's and remove this. This was not intentional. Okay, so I don't want to expose the setter methods, so only I can get the value from it, so it is immutable. I want to achieve this immutability without compromising. I need to solve these 2 problems without compromising the immutability. That's my only goal. Okay, how will I do this? That's when the builder design pattern comes into picture. Okay, so you don't want to compromise the immutability, but you want to solve the problems if the number of parameters to your constructor increases, and you want to also ignore some fields at the runtime because they are optional fields, and you can't keep creating multiple constructors. So everyone understand what is the problem now?
Yes,
Yes.
Amuthan.
Yes. So once you get the problem, if you see, or if you face a software design problem, something like this in your future, what people like Martin Fowler, all those guys have done, they have given a solution in a form of design pattern. So in this case, the builder design pattern will be really helpful. Okay, what is builder design pattern? Okay, it still, okay, there are multiple ways to implement a builder design pattern, but we are going to basically cover only 2 ways. Okay, guys, I'm teaching this because you guys, everyone knows rest assured, but how you can separate yourself from others, that's very important. If someone is asking you for an assignment, okay, you are attending some interview, people are asking you to submit an assignment, okay, you build a framework. What we are building in our class, we are going to build the framework. You use builder design patterns, okay, you show them that you know all these things, okay, that's when you get separated from others. Everyone can do, get calls, get the response back, do some assertions, everyone can do it. How will you separate yourself from others is basically based on your framework and your design patterns, your coding skills, the way you write your clean code. Okay, so let's learn about this builder design pattern. So what it tells is there are multiple ways to implement it. The first one is external builder class. Okay, so we're going to have an external builder class that's going to help us to solve this purpose. Okay, let's not touch base this employee class, but for now, what I do, I go here and then create something called a student class. So there is already student class. Okay, I can use this. Okay, let's assume I also have 2 more fields. Let's say student class is also having ID, something like this, private ID. Okay, we have all arguments constructor. I don't want the setter because the immutability I want to maintain it. Okay, suppose I want to generate a student builder class for this, right? Because I want to create an external builder class. No, let's remove all this thing. Okay, this is what's showing error. So let's go to this place, or let's go ahead and comment all these things for now. Okay, let's not throw any errors. Just a minute, guys. I commented everything. Okay, now let's go to the student class. So the first rule is you need to create a new builder class. Okay, let's create a student builder because this class is going to help us to build student. So we are naming it as student builder class. Okay, so next step. Okay, next step is you need to copy all these things and then come to this place and put it here. Okay, the same way how we can expose the setter methods for this. Okay, and with okay, and then you can also create some methods like let's say public uh, student builder. So let's name it as builder method. I'll explain, guys, don't worry. Return this. Okay, and then I also can create one more method, public student method, which basically helps me to build a student object. Okay, return new student and then id, this dot id, dot first name, this dot last name, email. Okay, so what I have done here, right? So I have created a new student builder class which is having same parameters like your student class. Okay, now for all of these I have created a setter method using the Lombok. You can also create setter method yourself. Okay, and then I also have created builder method and builder method. Okay, now what I can do is basically let's go to the builder design pattern test and let's remove this example. Okay, and let's try to construct a student object. See, our intention is to create an object for student, but we are going to leverage student builder to do. We are going to take help from the student builder to do that. Okay, let's do that. Now let's take new student builder. Okay, dot. Now I have an option that's builder, which going to give me a student builder reference. So what I can do, I can basically set all the emails and other stuff. Suppose I want to set id. Okay, I want to set id, let's say 560, so whatever, and I want to do a chaining, so I cannot do the chaining. So what I can do is basically let's go to the student builder and let's remove all the setters that it generated. I'll create my own setters, alt and insert setters, and select all of these. I want to select all of these and I want to choose the template of builder and click on OK. Now this basically returns this so that you can do the chaining together, right? So let's go there Now if you notice, set ID, now set email. I want to set some email. I want to ignore some field. Let's say I ignore the first name field. I will only set the last name field. You can also do this. Okay. And then at the end, I want to build it. Okay. If I introduce a new local variable here, it will only give you student builder class. Okay. But I want a student at the end. So what I can do is basically I can add build method, which gonna construct the student for me. Okay. Let's remove all these things and then introduce the local variable again. Now this time it is returning me student. Okay, now let's try to print what the student is having. So I can go to the student method and add a toString. A toString is basically coming from your object class. I'm overriding that and providing my own implementation. Okay, let's go now to this particular test and do a sysout student. Okay, that's it. Now we can see what is the value. We are not sending it, we are not making any calls. All we are interested is to construct the student object. Okay, what is telling? It's telling constructor student in class. Student can be applied to given types. So am I running it in the wrong class? Sorry guys, I'm running it in this is an error here. Let's go here and then let's try to run it. So this time if you notice, whatever the ID 566, first name is null, email is this, and set last name is this. So everything is getting set, and I can also ignore something at the runtime. Okay, that's the beauty about using builder patterns. Again guys, I'll again explain. Okay, what the problem we had was, we have number of parameters, so the readability decreases. Now we are telling set ID, set email, set last name, everything is more readable, right? And the second problem we had is we cannot ignore the fields. For all of that we have to create multiple constructor, but this time I can ignore. I have ignored the set first name field, but the student builder class is while it's assigning a default value for this first name. Since this is a string, it has assigned the default value of null. So while creating student object, it passed null. Again, in the student class, you can go there and then you can add a Jackson annotation, JSON ignore property, or JSON include only the ones that's having not null. Okay, JSON include not null. Okay, you can use this. When it is null, it won't be even sent in the request, so it won't be even constructor. Okay, so yeah, basically this is the power of using builder patterns. Again, there are different versions of it. Here we have used constructor and then called the builder method. Rather, what you can also do, you can have a template, something like this. Okay, you have a builder method. Where is that builder method? So this builder method can be made static, and okay, and what you can do is, or you can just use this, or you can use a new student builder, because we cannot use this in a static reference context. So I'm also shielding the constructor, so we don't expose any constructor. Even then I'm shielding all these things so that they don't create an object using all these things. If they want to create an object, now this time they cannot use like this. Okay, they cannot call the constructor also. This time they have to use student builder dot, and then the class name is builder. That's it. Now this builder is gonna return you a new student builder, and then you can do chaining of all the setter methods. In my case, I have ignored the set first name. Okay, once you do all these things, you call the build method. Okay, this build method going to do the actual job of creating the student object. Okay, so this how it works. Again, you can add syntactic sugars. Okay, let's say in Selenium, how many of you have used action class to do drag and drop, mouse overing, and other stuff? How many of you have used?
I have used.
You have used, right? There we will be using new action dot build dot perform. We will use something like that. You guys imagine?
Yes.
The same thing we can build here. That's what we have done here. Okay, instead of build method, I can name this anything. Okay, you can name this as get student. It's up to you. You can name this as perform. It's up to you. Okay. Okay, and I can also add some syntactic methods, like let's say student builder I create a method called and which does nothing, but it's just returning me this. Okay, I can create methods like this. Okay, let's say I create a build method, okay, which does nothing but just return this and improves the readability. That's all about it. Okay, you can use and then when whatever you want. You can also create something like with. Okay, you can, these are all syntactic sugars. Okay, let's now use this. Okay, let's go to the student this particular class. This time, okay, what I can do is only when you call the perform it will work. Okay, and you can add whenever and you want, you can add it. Okay, let's break it down into different lines. Okay,
Amuthan, the method chaining which you have used is a part of like builder pattern.
yeah,
Like, can we, like, can do we don't like? I don't want to use the chaining method, and can I use builder pattern then?
yeah, you can use it, but your readability, you need to write a student dot set id, student dot set email, student dot last name. So right, you need to write a lot of lines of code. If you don't do the method chaining, right, then you need to write every line. So student dot set email, student dot set id, student dot set last name, all those stuff. Okay, now I can also add and whenever I want. Okay, suppose you want to add and, okay, you can add it, because this and is just for readability. It doesn't gonna add any values to it, your code. Suppose after doing all these things, I want to call the build with method. I with all these values, with all these values, what I want to do, I want to build the student object. Okay, so this is how a builder design pattern is built. Imagine you are submit an assignment with with all these builder patterns with the syntactic sugars like this. Okay, in rest assured we learned we are using given, when, then. Okay, all these things are basically syntactic sugars. They basically return you the same instance type. Okay, good guys, any doubts so far in this? I hope everyone know what is method chaining. Okay, what is constructor, what is so that you can understand what I'm speaking here, right? Any doubts you want me to repeat? So now we have solved these two problems. Okay, we have solved these two problems without compromising the immutability. Okay, because you know whatever the thing, the setter method that we are using is making is making this student method only mutable. Okay, but the student class remains immutable. Okay, so that's the power of using builder patterns. Okay, you don't compromise on your immutability but solve the existing problems. If even if there are a lot of number of fields, okay, let's say you introduce more fields, that doesn't matter. I'm going to use setter method to set the values. Okay, so it doesn't going to change much, right? And if you want to ignore some fields, just don't call the set method. That's it. The default values will be assigned with the help of student builder constructor, and your student class gonna remain immutable always. Okay, that's the beauty about using builder pattern. Any doubts so far? Yes or no, guys?
No, Amuthan.
No, yeah, no, just practice it. You should be in a position to understand all these things. Okay, again, if you don't practice, that's okay, guys. These are a little high level topics. Okay, maybe it may take few days for you to understand. That's completely normal, because it's very common. So don't worry about it. Even if you don't understand, we always have Lombok to help us. Okay, so this is the first way of implementing the builder design pattern. The second way is using a static inner class. The first way we use an external builder class. The second way is using a static inner class. Okay, the second way is using a static inner class. How many of you know what is a static inner class?
A static class within a class.
Yeah, it is a static class within a class. That's a static inner class, correct? How many of you have used it already?
I haven't used. I just guessed by the name.
Okay, no problem. So let's see how we can create a static inner class, and then how we can do it. Okay, let's go to the student class. For the student class, previously we used an external student builder. This time we will use a static inner class. Okay, guys, let's say I want to have a static field. What do we do? Public static string some address. Okay, what is this? This is a static field. Okay, the same way, if I have a class instead of this, then this becomes a static class. Okay, let's also do that. Okay, public static, let's say student builder, and then maybe I'll name it as student builder 1 for now, so that it don't collide with your existing student builder class. And then this method is student builder. Okay, so it's telling sorry guys, I need to mention class. Okay, okay, so this this is static class. Okay, the only difference is previously we have string type, now we have a class type. Okay, and now this class is a static class. This class is also present inside another class, so we can call it as static inner class. Okay, good. So now what we have to do, we have to copy all the fields that we already have. So let me comment this, it's not our interest, we only want to generate for these 4 fields. Copy this, paste it here. Once you generate, okay, alt and insert, use generate all the setter methods for this. Okay, you can also create constructor for this, for these 4 fields. Okay, okay, you don't need a constructor, maybe we use a build method. The same thing, we are doing it inside the class, that's it guys. Okay, so let's name this method should return student type. Okay, and let's name this method as build. Okay, now return new student, this dot id, this dot first name, this dot last name. Okay, that's it guys. Okay, and then I also create one more builder method so that we can start a public static student builder 1. The name of the method you can give anything, but for now I'm using the convention. Okay, okay, that's it guys. So what are the builder method and build method that we have created, that we have created the same thing, but this class is now located within the student class itself, so we call it a static inner class implementation. The problem with the previous approach is you need to create one more class, that's the only difference, but you can use any approach. Okay, let's go there, and this time we'll use a static so now we have students, and inside student builder 1 dot builder. Okay, so this builder method will help me to set my id. Again, the order also doesn't matter, you can use any order. If you're using a constructor, okay, you need to maintain the order in which you pass the parameters, but here you can pass you can set your last name first. Okay, that doesn't matter. Okay, set first name, whatever. This time I want to ignore the email, so I'll only set the id. Okay, whatever, and then at the end you're going to use build method. Okay, once you do this, you get a student back. Okay, you name it as student 1, and then you can also uh out student 1. Let's try to run the test and see what's up. Okay, so if you notice, we have all these things. Okay, good. We have used the external builder class here, we have used static inner class here, but the thing is, again, we need to write a lot of code for this builder pattern. So what these guys have done is Lombok guys, okay, they are telling just to add builder pattern, builder annotation on top of it. Okay, they have used the static inner class way, so I can remove this. They used static inner class, so just if you add it, it would have actually created all the static inner classes, all the methods for you. So you can just go ahead in the builder design pattern test, and this time you type student dot student builder, you have a class now. Okay, again, they did implement it in a little different way. They used the builder method within the student class, so just use builder and then dot, that's it. Apart from that, everything remains the same. So here previously we used to name like set ID, set first name, set last name. Here they are using just a email, okay, ID. If you want to set, we can also append that prefix, okay, but we will come to that later. But for now, let's set up these things. Okay, last name. So let's say ID dot build. Okay, so once you do this, you get the variable. Okay. Now this time we used Lombok. We didn't create all these things for us. Okay, we didn't create all the complicated code. Next time you use a builder pattern, just to use @builder from Lombok. It will do all the things for you. Okay. Now let's first check whether it is working before student one dot so. Okay, this is also working fine, absolutely fine. Okay, so you can use Lombok builder. Okay, apart from that, if you want to use the set first name, set last name and other stuff, they also give an option for that. So you go here and then you type setter prefix. Okay, for setter prefix you can add set. So this time when you go here, okay, it will tell control and space. See, now they all change it to set ID, set first name, set last name. Okay, so this is how you can use that as well. Okay, and for now I don't want to do this. If you want, you can set this prefix, or you can also use builder class name. Suppose builder method name you want to change it to something else. Build method name, suppose I want to change it to perform. I don't like the build name, so I can use perform. Now I go here, so instead of build you just need to use perform here. Or suppose I want to name it more reasonably, like get student. That is more reasonable for me, so I can name it like that. And here, after doing everything, I can use get student method. Okay, so just the name of the build method is now changed. Okay, you get all these options from your Lombok. Okay, you can just leverage all these things. Okay, good. Any doubts so far?
Amutan, just can you repeat the static inner static overview? Can you just repeat it again?
Static inner class, is it?
Yeah, yeah.
I have removed all of that. Okay, anyways, what I can do first, I will comment this out. Okay, previously we used the external builder class. Okay, the builder design pattern can also be implemented using static inner class as well. Okay, so like how we have public static string address, the same way we can also have public static. This time we have a class. This class name is, let's say, student builder one. Okay, because we already have a class called student builder, it will get collided, so I use a different name. If this particular class is not available, then you can use student builder also here. Okay, I name this as this is a class, right? So this particular class, let's do it. Okay, so what are the thing that we do here? We first copy pasted all the stuff, right? The same way we are going to do this. Whatever the thing we have, all the variables you copy paste here. Okay, second step. Now we have created a builder method and then the build method. Okay, we can also copy paste this. Okay, okay, again you can use perform, whatever the name you want to give, you can give it. And the builder method also, okay, you can copy paste it. Okay, and this builder method is basically instead of putting it here, you can basically have it here. Okay, that's more student builder one and then student builder one. What is the problem? Okay, the usage is problem. Let's comment this out. Now let's go there. And if you notice, now we have arrived at this. Now I want to create, now we have created setter method for all these things, right? For all these variables, we have created setter methods. That's what we are going to do. Alt and insert, go to setters, select all the fields, click on enter. You generated all the setter methods, right? Same thing, but we are now using a static inner class. Now we want to develop this. Okay, let's go there. Student dot, I have used builder method inside the student class itself. So this time it's, I can use like this. If you created it inside here, if you create the static method, okay, inside this place, then you just need to add one more line of code, that you need to find a student builder now, and then build a class. Okay, one extra step. It's up to you on the way how you want to implement, but the Lombok guys have implemented like this. Okay, they used builder method outside this. So let's cut this and then paste it here. Okay, good. Okay, now after builder method, you get an option to use set first name. Okay, you can set the first name. Okay, set ID, whatever. And basically I'm okay. Then what I can do, I can use the whatever the method we have used to build methods and then do it. Okay, so it is of string, so it should be integer type. So let's say ID is integer. Okay, that's it. Once you do this, okay, you can print it out. Got it right?
Yes. Yes. Mukund, thanks.
Same thing we have done it in external class using an external class. Instead of that, you don't create, you don't create an external class, you create it in an internal class. Again, this is how we have done it, right? The same way the Lombok guys have done a lot of work, and what they are telling, you don't have to create all these boilerplate codes. You don't have to worry about all these things. What I will take care of it. Just to add an at the rate builder on top of it. Okay, and this time I can use a setter prefix to basically get, okay, to set. Then I can use the same code, and this time if I want to use the same code, I can go here and add a comma. uh, Build method prefix, build method name is basically perform. Okay, then you don't have to change anything, so everything works the same way. Okay, so you don't have to generate all those boilerplate codes, just add at the rate builder on top of it. Everything else will be taken care. Okay, good. That's it. Got it right?
Yes. Yes. Mukund.
Okay. There are other implementations for builder design pattern as well, but I'm not going to cover that here. You can check my YouTube channel for that. I have explained about how we can use lambdas and other stuff. Okay. But yeah, but for now we'll stop it here. Any other doubts?
This is Kavi here. So you created a inner class, right? So and you
Yeah.
copied the you copied the variables from the external class, right?
Yeah.
So in that case, can't we use the keyword called super dot the variable name in
No,
the within the
this is not a parent class. There is no this is not a parent class. Okay, basically whatever the doubts you are asking is related to Java. Okay, so this is not a parent class. Okay, just understand the student and student builder here that we created before are not parent classes. Okay, they are inner classes. If you use a super, it will call your super class. In this case, the super class is object class. Okay, so you cannot use a super here, super keyword. You have to use this keyword. Okay, got it right?
yes,
The
yes,
student class is actually extending object class. Okay,
object, yeah.
so if you call super, it will make your call to your object class, not your student
No,
class.
no. What my question was like, without using the Lombok, you created a
Yeah,
student builder
yeah,
one. So in
yeah.
that case, can't we use the
No. We can't use. That's what I'm telling. The student builder one class is an inner class. It's not the child class. Okay, inner class is different from your child class. Okay, there is no inheritance relationship here. There is only inner class relationship. Okay,
got it?
inner class is not equal to child class. Okay, that's the
Yes,
only difference. Okay, so you cannot use the super keyword. Good. Yeah, this basically go back to your Java basics. Okay, you need to go back to your Java basics, understand what is inner classes. But for now, don't worry too much about it. At the rate builder, everything is done for you. That's very easy. Okay, good. That's all about it, guys. We have already learned about these builder patterns and other stuff. Let's try to create a frameworks. Okay, let's not touch this project. Let me create a new project. Okay, and let's click on next, and let's say automation framework. Basically API automation framework. Okay, and I'll use a new window because I want to copy paste some POM dependencies. Okay, so while copy pasting dependencies, maybe you guys need to tell why we are adding those so that we confirm. Okay, let's go here and open the pom.xml. Okay, pom.xml. Yeah, so now we'll copy paste all these dependencies, and then you guys let me know why we are using all this. Okay, let's copy all the dependencies tag and go to that new project and paste it here. Okay, anyone wants to volunteer why we are using a particular dependency? Anyone? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, why we
The
are using
first one is for the REST hash.
okay, this one.
This is for the JSON schema validator. If we need to do the schema validation, then we require this one.
This one.
This one is Jackson data bind for serialization. If you want to serialize this,
Yeah, for all the serialization and deserialization needs, and we also have annotations from that JSON include, JSON ignore properties, which we can leverage into our Projo. Okay, yeah, good. And the same way, this REST assured comes bundled with your JSON path, so you don't have to worry about writing a JSON path expression in your REST assured code. Okay, good. And then what is this?
This is when we created the body, like for using the JSON object and JSON array.
Absolutely, yes. If you want to leverage a JSON object and JSON body, and then put once, accumulate, append, all these methods, then you can go for this org.json. Otherwise, you can ignore it. Okay, this one.
This is faker library for creating the fake data, like
Okay,
first
good.
name, last name,
And
contact
then
numbers.
this test engine
This is
you
for
all
the
know.
test engine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is an unit testing library. You can also take a leverage of their assertions. But yeah, we are also going to learn about AssertJ assertions. I hope you all have watched the AssertJ video in my YouTube. If not, please do watch it because I'm not going to cover that in detail. And dependency Lombok is, again, you all know that we have a lot of annotations that we are going to use. That is getter, setter, builder, or some of the annotations on all arguments constructor.
It is going to reduce like boilerplate code.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so this is all the dependencies we have. So every time you add a dependency, make sure that why you are adding it. Suppose I see lot of people who add dependencies, whatever they want. No, don't add it. It will increase your project build size. When you are building a Docker image, again, it becomes problematic. So that's the reason why I want to cover this topic. Yeah, let's go there. Now, we have an SRC folder, and we have SRC main Java and SRC test Java. And now we can understood. Yeah.
One doubt in like this form.xml.
Okay.
Generally, in my project, I can see like in many of the dependencies, they have attached some variables. I'm not able to understand that. Like
okay,
why
variables.
they have
Okay,
used.
nothing. Say they will have a property stack. Okay, what they do. Let's say you want to today it's 4.4.0. Tomorrow this library is getting up, changed to 5.0. And this case is what we will do. You will come to this particular location, and then you will type 5.0, correct? And then you will import the
Yes.
all the stuff. Yeah, but instead of doing this here, suppose if consider in a real-time project, if you are a developer, they will have hundreds of dependencies. Okay, and then going through that and then searching for it is very difficult. Okay, and most of the time, right, most of the time, suppose you notice the REST assured 4.4 uses JSON schema validated 4.4. Okay, so if you're updating your REST assured library, it's also mandate that you need to update your JSON schema library. In those cases, you can make this as a variable. Okay, you can make this as a variable and create a variable here, and then give the value there. Okay, suppose let's say I create some variable like rest assured version, something rest version, something like this, and then I use 4.4.4.0. okay, now here you can just give that variable name. Okay, rest version, that's it. Okay, whatever. Okay, so that next time if you want to change the version, you come and change it here. You don't go and change it in all the places. Okay, so that's the only advantage of using variables in the Maven dependencies. Okay, but for now we are only using very less libraries, so for now I am sticking to it. But yeah, since you have asked, I have explained about that. So that's the only reason. If you want to make the changes, it will be little easy. That's the only thing. Okay,
Do we need to follow any syntax while creating these properties, like, or
That the
only
one
we
you
need to
can
find the variable?
no, I think I am not much. I don't remember the syntax exactly, so you can just Google it, and then just it'll you just need to have a variable name, but that's it. Okay, don't worry too much about it. If you just
Okay,
Google it, you will get it.
totally.
Okay, don't
Yeah,
worry.
yeah, I understand the point.
Yeah. Okay, good. Now let's go and see. Let's say this src main java and src test java packages. We have main and test package. Previously, I think, I hope I have explained why we are using main and test. So test is basically for writing all your test cases. Previously, developers were using it to write only unit tests, but all their code will be lying inside the src main folder. Okay, only the src main java, they will ship it as a jar or var files and then deploy to their particular servers. That's what they do. And in our case, we're going to have all the things related to test cases alone will be here. Okay, nothing else. Okay, don't create your base class driver initialization. No, all these things don't keep it here inside the test class. That's very bad approach. All the stuff only related to test will be here. All the stuff related to other things other than the test will be inside the src main java. Okay, seriously, we don't have a package here. Maybe I'll create a new directory that is called resources folder inside src test resources to maintain all your the json files, the input data, the config related property files, all those stuff related to that. You can keep it inside the resources folder. All the code goes into the inside the java package. Again, inside java package, I cannot directly go and create a class. It's not that recommended. You need to club all your similar classes together. So maybe I create a package called as com.test. But in your case, if you're using, if you're from a company, maybe you can use tmb. This is testing many bytes. You can use your company name here so that it's more really meaningful, or your project name, your company name, and then project name. Okay, and then test. Okay, anything. So that should be having a proper hierarchy, right? So that you can separate it from other artifacts. Okay, so now, for now, I'll remove the project. I see it is little verbose, so I'll keep it like this, and I'll create a new class. Okay, the class what I'm going to create, let's say, first, get a tests. Don't put test alone, because if you have multiple tests, use tests. Okay, these are all small things, but they are definitely matters. Okay, first time when I raise a review to my developer, all these things he has told to me. Okay, so if you're having multiple tests, use tests, so that just by the name people can understand there are a lot of get tests, lot of test methods inside this. Okay, if there is only one test, use get test. Okay, some small changes. Okay, just basic English. Good. Now let's try to create a test method. Okay, let's name it as get test, get employee details. Okay, yeah. So can import this from testng. Come on, add and enter. Why it is not importing for me? Okay, so maybe I think I haven't imported this. Okay, let's try to run.
If the scope is defined as a test, I think so. That's why.
Yeah, scope is different in the test. I'm using in the test package only, so there is no problem. I didn't do the import, so I didn't imported it. So now it should basically give me the option to import this. I haven't done the reload all Maven projects, so the dependencies were in download. Okay, yeah. Now, so we are good to start our first day. So we are doing import static. I would not rest assured, start. Okay, so given we are going to make our first call, and get, and the URI is basically employees URI, right? So let me copy paste from other one where I have it. Okay. Let's copy this. Okay, now, so now we have something like this. Then I know this is gonna give me a response back on other stuff is okay. But for now, let's say this we are hard coding. Okay, mostly this particular part is remains the same across your project. Okay, so what you can basically do is either store it inside a class file, or you can store it inside config properties. Okay, so in most of the cases, if you want to, where you want to store it, either you can store in a constant class, or you can store it in some config.property files. Okay, now you need to decide where you want to store this. I'm sure that I cannot hard code like this, because if I want to change the environment tomorrow, dev test, you want to change it to multiple environments, you cannot keep changing it on different test cases. So I can either create a constant class and keep it there, or I can create a config.properties and keep it there. But in this case, I feel the config.properties is more relatable, because this may be even run by your manual testers or your business users, so that they find it to change it in the config.properties more easy. Okay, so let's create something called as config.properties. Okay, so this configure properties, I can have something like base URL, and then you can ship this particular thing. Okay, here, and this employees endpoint, right? This one, they are not going to change it. Suppose, let's say I have something like this. Okay, I hope you all know how to use a base URI. So let's say base URI, I can keep this. Base URI, I can keep this. Here I can keep this one. I am storing it in config.properties, but this employees endpoint, I can store it in, basically you can store it in constant plus, or you can hard code it like this, because this is not going to change very often, right? So you can hard code it like this. Okay, that's absolutely fine. Okay, good. Tomorrow, I think we are already on time. So what we can do tomorrow, we will write a code to read from the property files. We'll try to replace this dynamically, so that if you want to make any changes, how we can do this, you can change it here. Okay, so like that we will do the changes, and we'll also create some constant class. We'll also take an example from uh, let me try to bring in some Postman collections or GitHub API, and then we'll try to work on it, or we will use Jira API to create random issues to Jira, so that you can leverage this knowledge, and you can implement that in your Selenium automation framework. Suppose if I use a JSON server API for this also, you might not be feeling very comfortable. So I will use a Jira API maybe to create an issue to Jira. We'll also use any other APIs like GitHub API to create a repository in GitHub. Can also do this. Okay, so let's do that. But not for today. We'll learn about that tomorrow. But in the meantime, please practice about design patterns, build a design pattern, and other stuff. Okay, and let me know if you have any doubts. Anything and from anyone else before we wrap the sessions? Guys, nobody teaches you design patterns and all. So the reason why I'm teaching you guys is because you need to be different from others in the market. Okay, that's you need to learn a lot of things. Okay, there are a lot of things that people don't show you. Okay, every author, they no, it's very easy for me. I could have skipped today's class. Okay, I would have taken rest instead of covering this builder pattern. I didn't do this because I want to transfer whatever I know. I want to transfer all of them. Okay, but not everyone will be like that. Even though they know, they don't teach it to you, because they want to keep it in a some level, so that you always get trained from them. Okay, so I'm not someone like that. So once you get, I can show you the direction, okay, where I am learning, how I am learning. You also follow the same path, and learn more. Okay, there is still always a scope for improvements. So try to learn from good developers. Stop watching people from test automation community, guys. I am basically bored of all those lectures. Maybe a couple of them are really good, but start to learn from people's like Telesco, Java Brains. There are Derek Banas, there is Jenko. There are a lot of good guys who are teaching good Java. Okay, try to learn Java from them, because nobody teaches static inner classes in a test automation Java course. Okay, because they, one thing is, you don't really use it, or we don't have the capability to use it. But only when we learn it, we use it in place where we need. If you don't learn it, saying that we normally don't use static inner class in Java, uh, because we actually didn't try to use it. That's the problem. Okay, yeah, so please explore and let me know if you face any issues. I'm always there to help you guys. Any doubts before we wrap? Last.
Yeah, Amuthan, just this is regarding an example of encapsulation which you gave like day before yesterday, I think.
Yeah.
So in which you told like what is the use. So like the problem with like me and most of the guys is that like I know encapsulation by definition. I know like what it is using, but like what is going behind it, like how to learn it.
Yeah, this is a problem because I also started as a manual tester. Okay, I'm not blaming anyone because they also don't know. So suppose if you are watching some tutorials, they are also telling that because they also don't know. Okay, that why we are using getter methods and setter methods. Instead, we can directly access them using you know, when I was actually seeing a post in Navin Automation Labs where one guy asked what is encapsulation. Then there is some explanation like they are telling there is a tablet, you encapsulate your medicine inside that. They're telling you, you know, I don't understand what you guys are giving this example for. There is no need to relate this to a real time example. And one more guy is telling, imagine you have a king and then he is having a kingdom. You want to access, you want to speak to king. What do? You go via ministers. That's why you use getters and setters. Really, guys? When I hear these kind of examples in, when I ask in interview, I literally cry. Okay, I don't know why people are not making any efforts. I'm okay if you are just telling we use getters and setters instead of directly exposing public variables. Okay, that is okay for me. But please don't give examples that are completely quite irrelevant, right? Imagine someone is telling tablets, you conceal the medicine and said this, you take it. What is that? It's encapsulation. Okay, it's just a basic English meaning. Okay, I don't want a basic English definition. I want what is a Java definition for that. So yeah, that's the where the problem lies. I can't blame anyone. Even I was someone who told an explanation like that. So now when I look back my old days, I feel little worried because I didn't actually put some efforts to understand that. Okay, but yeah, that's okay. We all do mistakes, but we have to get over it and then learn the good way. If you cannot, just imagine one thing, if you cannot explain in very simple words, you are not actually learning it. Okay, that's how I see it. Okay, even builder design pattern, I could have used different ways to explain it, but I need to understand why we really need a builder design pattern when we already have it. Okay, then there are two problems. Okay, that two problems is okay. But what if I have a setter method within the student class itself? If I have a setter method within the student class itself, then it spoils the immutability. So I have to go for an external builder class or the internal static inner classes. So that's when the real answer comes, right? So you need to ask a lot of questions and a lot of meaningful questions, right? Most people don't ask it and most people don't have the answer for all of that. So it's okay if you don't have answer, but keep asking the questions. At least some point of time you will get the answers. Okay, I started from zero, guys. I started from manual tester to automation tester. All this knowledge I got because I put in a lot of efforts. Okay, this just whatever the knowledge I have, it's all in 3 years. Okay, if I can learn all these things in 3 years, you can also do it. Because I studied mechanical in school days. I never seen a computer. Okay, so if I can do it, you can also do it. Okay, so I don't have any big knowledge with computer also. So all these things I learned in last 2.5 years within the corona breakdown, like lockdown, right? So you can also spend some efforts, try to understand the real basics. Don't go for jargons or stupid explanations given in websites or tutorials. Don't do it. uh, Understand the real essence of it. Okay, try to befriend a good developer, good knowledgeable developer. He may scold you sometimes, that's completely all right. But understand his code, why he is coding like that, all those stuff you can tend to learn a lot more. Okay, be friend with people whom you can learn from them. Okay, don't work with people whom you teach. Okay, I prefer working with people who know more than me. Okay, because I can learn more. So that's how you should be. Okay, follow that. You all can code well. Don't worry, coding is very simple. It's just application of simple basic knowledges. Okay, guys, if I speak for a very long time, so that's a problem with me. Anything else before we stop? Okay, I assume you all have no doubts. You all have a very good day. We'll connect again tomorrow. We will continue with the framework development, and yeah, you all have a very good day. Tata, bye bye.